All right, so we are going to be discussing, Be'ez Hashem, a little bit about the lions. We've seen them, hopefully we'll see a little bit more as well. So I want to discuss two aspects. First of all, a little bit of Inyane Chazal of lions, and then of course we'll get to the Shira. What does the Shira have to say about the lion? What's the lion's song? So the lion by far is the most prominent of all of the wild animals mentioned all over the Torah, the Medrash, the Gemaras. It's actually mentioned in Tanakh over 150 times, and in Gemara and in Medrashim over 200 times in different contexts. And lions generally used to be widespread all over Eretz Yisrael, and they're described clearly in Tanakh as living, for example, in the Jordan Valley, some in the Negev Desert in the south, and other places as well. Many references made to the lion. But why did they disappear? Why are there no more lions? So one of the reasons that they bring is they were actually captured for the Roman to be used in Roman amphitheaters, as is brought down in the Gemara in Menachos Daf Kuf Gimel Amud Beis. Right, there's a pasuk also in Eiv that lions were hunted for sport by kings. So amongst these reasons are why there are no more lions that we find in Eretz Yisrael. The Gemara tells us in Sanhedrin Daf Tzadi Hey Omid Aleph, Omer Rabbi Yochanan, the lion has 6 names: Ari, Kfir, Lavi, Laish, Shachal, and Shachatz. That's what the Gemara tells us. Sanhedrin Daf Tzadi Hey Omid Aleph, the different names over there. In fact, the Medrash in Yalkut Shimoni in Mishlei Perek Chof, Omer Reb Levi, the lion actually has 7 names, and he goes on to quote them. Some of them we're not going to mention right now. The power of a lion, the most distinctive aspect of a lion is the sheer power of the lion as a predator. Wild oxen and bears possess more strength, possibly, and the leopard possesses a greater speed and cunning. But when it comes to one factor and everything together, including the size, a lion can weigh up to 500 pounds. The strength, the claws, the teeth, and the hunting ability, the lion emerges as the leader, standing right at the top of the food chain. In many psukim we find such a thing in that case. Now the strength of the lion defies belief almost. Just one blow from its powerful claw is enough to kill animals or people in that case. And there are halachic ramifications, by the way, of this as well. For example, there's a Gemara in Shabbos Taf Kuf Vav. The Gemara in Shabbos tells us that if a person traps a lion on Shabbos Kodesh, so he's not chayiv until he brings it into the cage. What does that mean? The Mefarshim explain this is Pashkin Shulchan Aruch and Rechaim Shin Tazayin, and that is that because the lion possesses such incredible strength, so simply catching the lion in a trap does not mean halachically that a person is over mishum tzod because of tzeda, because of capturing it, because you can only consider it to be actually secured when it's locked up in a cage, and until you've done that, then it's not considered to be even halachically that it's actually captured in that way. Now, it's interesting to note as well that Shlomo HaMelech's throne was flanked by statues of lions. If you look in Malachim Aleph, Perek Yud, it brings down over there that the throne had 6 steps, and at the top of Shlomo HaMelech's 6 steps, top of the throne, was round behind, and there were armrests on either side on the place of the seat, and 2 lions stood beside the armrests, and there were 12 lions that stood there on one side and on the other side, also on the other, upon all of the 6 steps, which is, as the Navi tells us, none like it than any other kingdom whatsoever. There are many, many examples of lions and images of lions being put onto the Beis HaMikdash as well. We find that as well, which is also interesting. And let's go a little bit into Perek Shira, because when we talk about Perek Shira, we have to understand why specifically does the lion have that Shira. So let's go into the Shira of the lion. Aryeh Oimer, the lion says. What does the lion say? Hashem ki gibor yetze ki ish mulchomois yair kina yaria af yatzriach al oivov yisgabar. Pasuk in Yeshayahu, Perek Membeis, Pasuk Yud Gimel. This is the translation of that Shira of the lion. The lion is saying, Hashem shall go out as a mighty man. Like a warrior, he arouses zeal. He shall shout, even cry out. He shall prevail over his enemies. the lion is the king of almost every culture, instilling fear into every animal. Now, the shear of the lion is using the word gibor, which is mightiness. The gematria of Arya, which is lion, is gevura, which is strength. The Shulchan Aruch starts in Orach Chaim with the words, which is a Mishnah of Pirkei Avos, Yiskaba Kari, which is a metaphor, how we're meant to get up with that mightiness in the morning. Gevura al pi Kabbalah means, personality-wise, to come back, to hold back, to have self-discipline. This is the gevura that we are specifically looking for a person to have and wake up in the morning in order to serve Hashem. And so the lion has this midah because it possesses the gevura over all of the other animals. The shira of the lion is in praise of the gevuras Hashem, of the strength of Hashem. Hashem shall go out as a mighty man, like a warrior, shouting and crying, prevailing over his enemies, which is the shira of the lion. So the shira is actually, basically, of the lion, is a plea to arouse the lion in the midah of gevura against his enemies of Klal Yisrael. It seems like the Tana that wrote Perek Shira looked to the lion as a symbol of tragedy and also hope, because the Beis Hamikdash, as the Pasuk tells us in Yeshaya, Perek Chavtes, Pasuk Aleph, was also called Ariel. The lion of Hashem is referred to as the Beis Hamikdash. The shape of the Heichal also resembled crouching lions. Visions of lions of fire reported, says the Gemara in Yuma, Daf Chaf Aleph on a base, in the first Beis Hamikdash. So the author of Perek Shira gave the lion a shira that constituted a tefillah to Hashem to go forth in war against his enemies, so that we can once again be able to reclaim the lion of Hashem, Hashem's dwelling place in this world, that is the Beis Hamikdash. The shira of the lion is the promise that Hashem in the future will arouse his midah of gevura and restore the sovereignty to its right place, and we'll be able to have the Beis Hamikdash Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach B'mehei V'Ameinu Amen.